For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
In the early hours of 2004, 21-year-old Miles Fairchild left a campus lab at a university in northern New England. He never arrived. Despite an extensive campus-wide investigation and search, no trace of him was found, and Miles vanished without a trace, his disappearance sending shockwaves through the community. For 11 agonizing years, his family lived with paralyzing uncertainty, a void that time could not fill, hope slowly eroding into despair. Then in 2015, during the renovation of a disused residence hall, a shocking discovery was made. Miles's cracked student ID, hidden behind a forgotten fuse panel. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Miles Fairchild. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. Northern New England, 2004. The region's academic institutions were vibrant hubs of intellectual pursuit, bustling with the energy of youth and the quiet hum of scholarly endeavor. This particular campus, a sprawling network of Gothic architecture and modern facilities, thrived amidst a landscape that transitioned from crisp autumn foliage to the stark beauty of a New England winter. Here, the pursuit of knowledge often extended late into the night, fueled by caffeine, ambition, and the promise of a brighter future. Among the thousands navigating these historic halls was Miles Fairchild, a 21-year-old engineering major. Miles embodied the diligent student archetype, a figure driven by intellectual curiosity and a meticulous approach to his studies. His days were rigorously planned, balancing demanding coursework with the occasional, carefully chosen campus social event. He was known for his quiet focus, his remarkable aptitude for complex problem-solving, and a deep commitment that often kept him in the engineering labs long after most others had retired for the evening. His academic record was impeccable, a testament to his unwavering dedication and hard work. The evening of February 9, 2004, followed a familiar pattern for Miles. He had been immersed in a late study session, poring over schematics and equations in the engineering department's main lab. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as he meticulously checked his calculations, the campus outside growing silent and still under a faint dusting of fresh snow. Sometime after midnight, Miles gathered his textbooks and notes, tucked them into his backpack, flicked off the lab lights, and stepped out into the biting New England air. His dorm, a relatively short walk across the quad, was his destination, a routine journey he had made countless times before. He was last observed walking away from the academic building, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the softly illuminated campus. The path he would have taken was well lit, winding past the library and student union, before reaching the cluster of residence halls. Yet, Miles Fairchild never arrived at his room. The following morning, his absence was keenly noted by his roommate Priyanka Rao, who found his bed undisturbed and his personal effects exactly as he had left them, save for the backpack he had carried to the lab. Initial confusion quickly morphed into a profound sense of unease. Miles was not one to deviate from his established schedule without notice, nor was he prone to spontaneous, unannounced departures. The growing worry spread rapidly, first among his close friends and within his academic department, then to the campus administration. A diligent, responsible young man had simply vanished from a seemingly secure environment, leaving behind no note, no trace, and no immediate explanation. The suddenness of his disappearance, a bright life extinguished without warning, plunged the campus and its community into an unsettling, immediate mystery. The initial alarm over Miles Fairchild's disappearance quickly escalated. Campus security was the first point of contact, their officers commencing an immediate, albeit localized, search. However, the gravity of a missing adult student, particularly one who had vanished without a trace from a seemingly secure environment, necessitated broader intervention. Local law enforcement was swiftly notified, and within hours, the case was handed to a joint task force. Campus cop Jessa O'Rourke, a seasoned officer known for her methodical approach and deep familiarity with the campus layout, assumed a significant role in coordinating the initial response. Her understanding of the university's intricate pathways and secluded corners proved invaluable in the urgent first hours. The preliminary search efforts were extensive, fanning out from Miles's last known location at the engineering lab. Teams combed every academic building, dormitories, student common areas, and the network of paths Miles would have traversed. The search extended to the campus fringe, including the wooded areas bordering the university grounds, often used by students for recreation or as shortcuts. Every dumpster, every maintenance tunnel, every seldom used storage room was checked. Despite the thoroughness, these initial sweeps yielded nothing concrete. No discarded belongings, no signs of a struggle, no indication of where Miles might have gone. Interviews began immediately. Priyanka Rao, Miles's roommate, provided crucial insights into his habits and last known plans, confirming his dedication to his studies and his uncharacteristic absence. Professors, fellow engineering students who had seen him in the lab that evening, and even cafeteria staff were questioned. Each interview painted a consistent picture of a focused, responsible young man, offering no hint of personal troubles or intentions to leave. The collective testimony only deepened the mystery. Investigators found themselves increasingly frustrated. The lack of any obvious clues, no body, no note, no financial irregularities, no digital footprint beyond his last known online activity, made it impossible to lean towards any single theory. Early theories naturally gravitated towards three main possibilities. Miles had run away, he had suffered an accident, or he had been abducted. Yet each theory was undermined by a lack of supporting evidence. A runaway scenario contradicted his stable life and meticulous nature. An accident seemed unlikely given the thorough campus search and the absence of any hazardous areas along his presumed route. Abduction, while terrifying, left no forensic trace. As days bled into weeks, the initial flurry of activity began to slow, replaced by a gnawing sense of helplessness. The absence of Miles Fairchild became a stark, unsettling reality, a void that grew larger with each passing day, casting a long shadow over the once bustling campus. The initial frantic burst of investigative activity gradually sputtered to a halt. Every tip had been pursued, every witness re-interviewed, every inch of the campus and its periphery meticulously searched, yet no new, actionable intelligence emerged. The leads, once abundant in the immediate aftermath, had been exhausted, offering no definitive path forward. Without a body, a suspect, or even a clear motive, the case of Miles Fairchild's disappearance began its inevitable slide into the realm of the unsolved. Public awareness, initially intense and fueled by local media coverage, began to wane as the weeks turned into months. The story, once a headline, receded to the inner pages, then disappeared from public discourse almost entirely. For the broader community, the shock faded, replaced by a lingering, unsettling question mark. For Miles's family and his closest friends, however, the agony remained raw and unrelenting. Each passing holiday, each birthday, each academic milestone served as a painful reminder of his absence, a constant ache in the void he had left behind. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years, stretching the period of uncertainty into an agonizing decade. The case file, once a thick binder of active leads and police reports, was eventually categorized as cold. It sat, gathering metaphorical dust, a testament to an unsolved mystery that had defied every investigative effort. Miles Fairchild, the diligent engineering student, became a statistic, one of the countless individuals who vanish without a trace, leaving only questions and a profound sense of despair. The campus, while moving forward with new generations of students, never quite shook off the shadow of his disappearance. His story became a whispered legend, a cautionary tale, a permanent fixture in the collective memory of a community haunted by a life that had simply ceased to exist, leaving no answers for over 10 long years. 11 years had elapsed since Miles Fairchild vanished, the calendar now turning to 2015. The campus had undergone numerous transformations in that time, new buildings rising, old ones repurposed. Among these changes, one structure stood as a relic of a bygone era, the Northwood Residence Hall. Once a bustling dormitory, it had fallen into disuse years prior, deemed unfit for modern student living and awaiting a major overhaul. Its windows were dark, its hallways silent, a forgotten shell on the periphery of the vibrant campus. Now, however, its time had come. Renovation crews had begun the arduous task, of stripping the building down, preparing it for a new life. It was amidst this dust and deconstruction that the past unexpectedly resurfaced. Facilities Chief Benji Karen, overseeing a team of workers on the third floor, was performing a routine inspection of an electrical panel. The old fuse box, tucked away in a seldom visited corner of a communal lounge, was a relic in itself, its metal cover stiff with years of disuse. As a technician carefully pried open the panel, a small laminated card slipped from behind the wiring, falling with a soft clatter onto the grimy floorboards. It was a student identification card, its plastic surface cracked across the center, but the photograph and name were still clearly legible. The face staring up from the card was unmistakable: Miles Fairchild. The discovery was immediate and electrifying. For over a decade, Miles Fairchild's disappearance had been a cold, unyielding mystery, a ghost story whispered in the halls. Now, a tangible piece of him had reappeared, not in some remote wilderness or a distant city, but within the very confines of the campus he had vanished from. The ID was swiftly secured, its authenticity confirmed through university records. This was, without a doubt, the identification card issued to Miles Fairchild in 2003. Its presence in the abandoned dormitory, hidden behind a fuse panel, instantly reignited a case that had long been considered beyond hope. New hope flickered for a family that had endured years of agonizing uncertainty, but with that hope came a fresh deluge of bewildering questions. How had Miles's ID come to rest in this forgotten corner of a disused building? When exactly had it been placed there? And what did its cracked condition signify? The rediscovery of Miles Fairchild's student ID was a seismic event for the university and for law enforcement. After 11 years, the cold case was instantly reignited with an urgency that dwarfed the initial investigation. Campus cop Jessa O'Rourke, who had played a significant role in the frantic early hours of Miles's disappearance, found herself once again at the forefront. Her deep institutional knowledge and personal connection to the original search made her an invaluable asset as the case was officially reopened. The original files, yellowed and thick with dead ends, were pulled from storage, dusted off, and scrutinized anew. The immediate priority was a meticulous forensic examination of the ID itself, and even more critically, the precise location where it had been found. Crime scene technicians descended upon the Northwood Residence Hall, sealing off the third-floor lounge. Every surface around the fuse panel was dusted for prints, swabbed for DNA, and photographed from multiple angles. The cracked ID card underwent microscopic analysis, searching for trace evidence that might have been left on its surface or embedded within its fracture lines. Investigators were not merely looking for Miles's fingerprints, but for any foreign material, any fibers, any skin cells that could point to another individual. The fuse panel itself became a focal point, its interior and exterior carefully documented and dismantled for laboratory analysis. Concurrently, a comprehensive investigation into the history of the disused residence hall commenced. Records detailing its abandonment, maintenance logs, and access permissions for the past 2 decades were meticulously compiled. Who had access to Northwood Hall after it was officially closed? Were there any reported breaches, any signs of squatters, or covert uses that might explain the ID's presence? Every individual with a legitimate reason to enter the building, from facility staff to security personnel, became a person of interest. The old case files were re-evaluated with fresh eyes, cross-referencing every previous lead, every witness statement, every discarded theory against the backdrop of this new, tangible clue. Had Miles ever frequented Northwood Hall? Had anyone reported seeing him near the building in the days leading up to his disappearance? The central questions guiding this renewed investigation were stark and pressing. How did Miles's identification card end up hidden behind a fuse panel in an abandoned dormitory? What did its cracked condition signify? And most critically, what could this tell them about Miles Fairchild's last movements and his ultimate fate? The discovery offered a sliver of hope, but it also presented a baffling new puzzle piece in a decade-old mystery. The investigation into the Northwood Hall discovery intensified, moving to highly specialized analysis. The fuse panel, along with the surrounding dust and debris, was subjected to a battery of advanced techniques. Scientists employed dust stratigraphy, a method analyzing dust layers to determine when a surface was last disturbed. The results were profound. Dust patterns conclusively showed the fuse panel had been opened and accessed during the first week of February 2004, the precise time frame of Miles Fairchild's disappearance. This directly linked the hidden ID to the moment Miles vanished. Further corroboration emerged from university archives. A meticulous search of facilities records unearthed a maintenance log entry from February 7, 2004, indicating a routine electrical check and minor repair performed on the third floor of Northwood Hall, mentioning access to a fuse panel in a communal lounge. This entry perfectly aligned with the dust stratigraphy, solidifying the timeline. Someone accessed that panel, potentially placing the ID just days before Miles was reported missing. With a definitive temporal link established, the investigation pivoted to electronic records, specifically the campus card swipe data. Every entry and exit point on campus required a student ID swipe. Investigators began sifting through years of data, searching for anomalies in Miles Fairchild's access history. They sought unusual patterns, card swipes that deviated from his known routines or habits. What emerged was a series of peculiar card swipe anomalies in the days leading to his disappearance. These were intermittent, illogical activations at points not primary thoroughfares. By mapping these anomalous swipes, a startling pattern emerged. The data indicated activations leading from the main campus grid through a seldom-used service corridor to a rear gate. This gate, typically used by maintenance vehicles, opened directly onto a secluded wooded service road that skirted the campus perimeter. It was an unofficial, almost hidden exit from campus, a backdoor path. The converging evidence, the cracked ID behind a fuse panel opened the week he vanished, confirmed by a maintenance log, and an anomalous card swipe trail to a discreet exit, began to paint a chillingly coherent picture. It suggested Miles Fairchild may have disappeared not just from campus, but off campus, via a route previously unknown, carrying a secret that remained elusive. The convergence of disparate clues finally began to illuminate the perplexing disappearance of Miles Fairchild. The cracked student ID, hidden behind a fuse panel that dust stratigraphy proved was opened in February 2004, coupled with a corroborating maintenance log entry from that exact week, established a critical temporal link. This placed Miles's identification card, or the act of it being placed, squarely within the time frame of his vanishing. More profoundly, the exhaustive analysis of campus card swipe data revealed a series of anomalies in the days leading up to his disappearance. These seemingly random activations, when meticulously mapped, traced a distinct, unconventional path from the main campus through a rarely used service corridor. This route culminated at a rear gate, a service entrance that opened directly onto a secluded wooded service road bordering the university grounds. This new narrative fundamentally reshaped the understanding of Miles's last known movements. He had not simply vanished from the familiar pathways between the lab and his dorm. Instead, the evidence strongly suggested an exit from campus via this clandestine backdoor path to a wooded service road. The manner in which his ID came to be behind the fuse panel remained an open question. Was it a deliberate act by Miles to leave a clue, a desperate attempt to hide it, an accidental dropping during a hurried passage, or perhaps forcibly placed there by another individual? While the specifics remained elusive, the ID's location and the timing of the panel's disturbance pointed to a clandestine interaction within Northwood Hall, followed by an egress from the campus perimeter. Armed with this profoundly significant new information, investigators launched renewed search efforts. The focus shifted dramatically from the campus proper to the dense wooded areas flanking the newly identified service road. Teams systematically combed the terrain, no longer searching a vague perimeter, but a targeted corridor, guided by the precise coordinates of the anomalous card swipes and the exit gate. While the full resolution of Miles Fairchild's fate, including the discovery of his person or the identification of a perpetrator, was not confirmed by the breakthrough, the evidence offered a crucial form of closure for his family. After 11 years of agonizing uncertainty, they finally possessed tangible answers regarding his last known actions and a more defined area for potential discovery. The case underscored the enduring power of forensic science to bridge vast chasms of time, the unwavering dedication of investigators who never truly let a cold case die, and the long, winding path to unearthing fragments of truth. Miles Fairchild's disappearance remained a poignant reminder of a life vanished, but his story now carried the weight of a meticulously reconstructed timeline, offering a measure of understanding in the face of an enduring mystery.